Welcome to Prompt and Build. So you have built a working web app with AI, but is it safe? Is your data protected? So in this third part of our Prompt and Build to-do series, we are tackling the critical layer of user authentication and authorization. You learn how to prompt AI to generate robust login systems, hash passwords securely, and build a beautiful responsive UI to protect your users' data. Let's find out how easy AI makes security. We will be using the Claude AI for generating our code this time. Okay, we are in Claude AI. Let's start with the brain of our operation, the Python backend. We need a way for users to sign up and log in securely. So I'm going to prompt Claude AI with this well-formatted prompt. I'll also attach the existing backend logic that we have to give more context to the AI model. While Claude works on it, why don't we break down our prompt and understand it a little better? So here we are saying you are an expert Python fast API web developer. This role setting helps in getting accurate responses actually. And then we are saying I have an existing fast REST API and with for a to-do list, and currently it's open and anyone can create or update the tasks. So we are mentioning that we have this implementation existing already. Then we are defining the task that the Claude needs to do. Then the requirements. We are talking about the user model, the database schema for the model, and we are explaining about password hashing, how it needs to be done so that the passwords are not stored as raw text. And then we are asking for 3 different endpoints for registration, login, and logout. So we are also asking to protect our existing endpoints. This means that only authenticated users will be able to access these APIs, and also if they are listing or fetching their tasks, only the task specific to that particular user should be returned. So that means we need to add a user ID to the task model. And then we are asking to implement proper error handling. And the provide section explains what are the things that Claude needs to generate. And we are also mentioning that we have the backend app running on localhost colon 8000 already. In the last section, we are mentioning that we are attaching a main.py file, which we already did, so that it has more context about what we already have and it will be able to make changes easily. And in addition to that, we are also asking it to implement one change to the existing logic, because you remember that we used to store to-do items in a in-memory list, but we want to do that in SQLite as well, so that even if we restart our application, we will still be having our data. Okay, let's head back to see if the code generation is completed. So here you can see that Claude has generated 2 different files. So authenticated fast API to-do application. So this is the main.py application that we given to Claude, and it has updated all the changes in that, and it gave us the final file that needs to be used. And it also gave us the requirement file where it had added few other requirements that we need to install. Now it says that we'll have to install the requirement. So let's copy this requirements, and we don't have any requirements file here. Let's create a new one here and paste this contents. And as Claude says, we'll have to install these requirements. Let's come here, new prompt. So we have our requirements installed now. Let's get back to AI and see what is the code that it has generated. So this is the backend API code that it has generated. So let me just copy this thing, get to main.py, replace the contents. I saved the contents here, and let's start this app. So here we see that the app is already running, so it just reloaded it. So let's go ahead and test these APIs in Postman. Before doing that, let's go to Claude and see if it has given us any examples which we can use to test our APIs. So here we can see that it has generated the register, login, and create to-do examples. So let's do the register part first. Let's copy this curl, go to Postman and do an import. So in this import, we can paste the raw text and change the request name to register user and import into collection. So this created our request, register user, and our API is running on 8000, so we should be able to hit this. But before hitting anything, we need to update our data. So let's beautify this. Let's create our username as prompt and build. Let's use this password, should be good, and hit send. Now in the response you can see that user registered successfully. That means our user registration is working fine and it is also getting added to the database, and the user ID is also provided. Now let's use those credentials and log into our system. So come back to Claude and copy this contents, and let's import it again. Let's change the name to login. Let's update the username and password here from our registration. And hit send. Great, we have the access token now. So this can be used now to hit any other APIs that we created earlier. So it is also giving us additional information like the token type, user ID and username. Let's go back to AI and get the create to do curl, and let's import this again. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's remove this authorization and try to hit this API. Here you can see that it is saying it is not authenticated. That means we are not providing any details of the token. So what we need to do is we need to add this authorization header into the request, and in this your JWT token place we'll have to post our token. Now let's try to hit this, and here we go. We are able to see that it is giving us an ID. So we can get this ID and go to get item and use this ID to fetch the data. And in the headers, let's add the authorization header and put the token here. Okay, here we see that we have created the to-do item and we are able to see that to-do item here. Now let's get into the visual magic, the front end. So this is the front end that we have created in our earlier videos. So as you see that we have created some to-do lists using APIs, but we are not able to see any to-do lists here. Let's see what the issue is. So if we go to inspected network and reload this page, we are seeing that there is an error. So the error is 403 forbidden. That means we are not sending any credentials in this request. Obviously because we have not implemented the user authentication and authorization part in the UI. Let's do exactly that thing now. Let's get back to Claude and let me paste the prompt that we have for UI generation, and let's also upload the existing HTML file that we have. Right. So while Claude is generating these changes, let's go through this prompt and understand what is happening in here and what we are asking for in this. So we are saying that you are an expert in HTML, CSS and vanilla JavaScript. As I said earlier, let's make sure that AI is actually working in a particular role. And we are saying that your task is to create a responsive, modern looking login and registration UI that integrates with the existing to-do app. And for the requirements, we are having a login form, registration form, and there should be a way to easily switch the forms. And we are talking about integration where a user is not logged in, then they should be able to see the login or registration forms, and if they are logged in, they should be able to see the logout option. And from styling perspective, we are mentioning that it needs to be responsive and the content needs to be centered. So the background needs to be a little gradient so that our to-do creation part is actually popped up. And then we are mentioning that it is a modern design that it needs to generate. So here you can see in Claude that it has generated some HTML code, and actually you are able to see the application directly instead of the code. So there is an option in Claude where you can switch between the actual UI and the code. So this is what it has generated. This is looking really cool. Let's try to integrate this into our application. So let's switch to code and copy this code. Let's get back to our Visual Studio Code and update our index.html file. Great. Now let's open this index.html file. Okay, cool. In our application, we got our new UI now. So here we are able to see that there is a login option, registration option, and we can provide usernames and passwords. So let's use the earlier username that you have created. Okay, cool. Here we are able to see that this particular user prompt and build has got one to do item. So here you can see that we have the buy groceries to do item where it shows it is open. So we have medium as the priority, and it has some description also. And here we have a button to start progress. Remember, we have added this as an additional requirement. So let's click on start progress. Now we can see that this task is moved to in progress state. Let's click on this again, and there are two options now. We can mark it as done, or we can mark it back as open. Let's put it as done. So this option has, this to do has now moved to done state. Now AI is powerful, but sometimes it needs a little nudge. For instance, here we can see that the medium option that we are able to see, that is not in the right place. So the delete button and the medium option is actually getting overlapped. So that's where our prompt engineering skills come into effect. So we can actually update our prompt to make sure that this bug is fixed. So to make the code generation with AI very efficient, we'll have to always test our changes thoroughly. So in this particular case, we can try for invalid logins or like non-matching passwords and ensure your logout truly clears the session. These small refinements actually make a huge difference in the robustness of your AI generated code. And just like that, with the power of prompt engineering, we have transformed our simple to-do app into a secure full stack application with user authentication and authorization. We built a secure Python backend for login or registration and a beautiful responsive front-end UI, all with incredible assistance of AI. If you found this video helpful, please give a big thumbs up. And if you want to keep building awesome apps with AI, make sure you are subscribed to Prompt and Build and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming parts and all the new videos. All the code this for video plus links to the tools are in the description below. So what other complex features should we build with AI? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep prompting, keep building.